time, so I'm going to hold to that promise. If others join us as we go through, great. If not, then their loss, and na 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 na, as they say. So I would first of all like to welcome Miriam Miller to our band of online educators. Miriam is a new addition to our staff. She's going to be teaching U.S. history and AP English for us this year. So Miriam, welcome to your first official Bonim B'Yachad function. As you can tell, you know, being online, we all get to kind of just, you know, they only see us from here up. Like my students actually ask me sometimes when they see me when I go visit New York, they say, like, you have arms and legs, you know. But everybody here, thank God, has arms and legs, and God willing, at some point you'll get a chance to meet everybody in person. But for now, welcome. Okay. What we're going to be doing this evening is, as you know, as you've seen from my emails, we've, as a company, are moving over to the Google Business Platform. Now, for those of you
Thank God.
Avi's happy about that. So for those of you who have Gmail addresses, which I'm assuming is just about everybody, nothing I'm going to tell you is going to be so exciting or so earth-shattering, and I know you all know how to use Gmail, so we're not going to, this is not going to be an instructional seminar where I'm going to be showing you this is how you do this and this is how you do that. That's not the idea of what we are here to do this evening. What I do want to do, it's Shani and Elad. So what I do want to do with you is just go through the various parts of the Google for Business platform, because there may be some things that you don't know and that are new. I'm going to send everybody my presentation after this is over. I'll also send you the recording of this session. And furthermore, I will let you know where you can go to get further help or further instruction if you need it. One of the main reasons why we are switching over to Google for Business platform is because the help and instructional materials that are available are just amazing. You know, whether you, and I'll show you where to go, but even just a regular Google search will usually, if you have a question, how do I do something, you'll be able to find it and get your answer fairly easily. So that's our plan for this evening. Most of you by this point have received Gmail, Bonim B'Yachad Gmail accounts. If you have not, it's coming. We roll them out kind of slowly. So if you haven't gotten one, it doesn't mean I don't like you. It just means it hasn't come yet. So just bear with us. You know, hopefully by the time school starts, not hopefully, but definitely by the time school starts, everybody will have what they need to do everything I'm going to show you today. If anybody has questions during this presentation, this is not school. You're not in high school, so either just unmute yourselves and talk, or text, put something in the chat box. Whatever works comfortably for you is good with me. I just want to welcome, in addition to our new staff member Miriam, I want to welcome Alon Shalev to our staff, also attending his first Bonim B'Yachad meeting. Alon has joined us as a new addition to our Hebrew staff, as well as he, God willing, will also be teaching some Machshevet Yisrael classes coming up later on. So, Alon, we're very happy to have you on our team as well. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's get to it. I feel like I said to Avi this morning, I said, I haven't been in Zoom for a presentation in forever. This is what happens in summertime, but here we are. So, okay, so the different parts that we're going to be discussing of the platform today, there are the main features in the Google world, so to speak, are Mail, which I said most of you know about, Google Hangouts, which we'll talk about. We're going to talk about the Google Calendar. We're going to talk about the online cloud-based storage that they give you. We're going to mention briefly the different productivity programs that Google provides us with, and we'll also talk about YouTube. And yes, YouTube is actually part of the Google world. Google bought YouTube some years back, and now everything is integrated, so when you sign in one place, you're actually signed in all over the place. That's a good thing, bad thing, I don't know, but it's the way it is. So let's start with Mail, because that's the easiest. So any message you send for Bonim Biyachad, and I can't stress this enough, but any message that you send has to come from your Bonim Biyachad account. There are no exceptions. There are no nothing. This is the cardinal rule. So we've tried to make it easy for you. It's Gmail, gmail.com. You sign in, you do your thing, and hopefully it won't be a problem. But we really can't see messages from your personal accounts. And last year we were a little bit more relaxed with that. This year we're not relaxed with that because it's just something that has to happen. Gmail, one of the main reasons we are switching over, and it is, I can assure you, not at a minimal expense. This is not a low-cost switch. If it was, we would have stayed where we were. But one nice thing about Gmail is that it can be accessed on just about every device you have. If you have a smartphone, if you have a tablet, if you have a Mac, PC, it really doesn't matter what you're using. Gmail has its own email app for the smartphones and for the tablets, or you can just run it through the default email app. Either way works, but you should be able to access your information wherever you are on any device.
Can I just interrupt you for 1 second? I want to go back to the previous point that Ari was making about emails need to come from the Bonim Biyachad email. One point of clarification, a lot of schools that we teach in give us a school email address. If you're teaching at Rambam, you're going to have a Rambam email address, for example. We still want the communication to come from the Bonim Biyachad email. In the example I just gave, the Rambam, what's easiest to do is to have the Rambam email automatically forward to the Bonim Biyachad, and then you'll receive it in your Bonim Biyachad email like every other email, and you just click reply. But again, even if the school says, here's your email address for our students, please still use the Bonim Biyachad email.
Yes, thank you for pointing that out, and Avi's absolutely correct in that. So a couple of people have asked already, and so I just want to clarify this here. Mail can be forwarded to your Bonim Biyachad Gmail account. So like in the example Avi just gave, if you have another school-related email, you can just set it up to forward to your Bonim Biyachad account. You cannot, however, forward mail from your Bonim Biyachad account to another account. And a couple of you have already emailed me and said, I see that the forward option is turned off. It's not broken. The reason for this is very simple. Since we're dealing with students, since we're dealing with confidential information, legally, we can't forward student-related email or school-related email to our personal email accounts. We haven't really been so compliant with this up until now, but it's something that we do have to get compliant with, and that's the reason for this. So I apologize if this is inconvenient. You can very easily have multiple Gmail tabs open on your computer a variety of ways. If you're using the mobile app, you can add many different email accounts or Gmail accounts, so it shouldn't really be too difficult, but this is the policy, so there are no exceptions, even for me. I have two separate Gmail windows open on most days. I have my personal and my private, and my work email, excuse me. So if for those of you who are used to using a different email provider like Outlook or any of the other ones, Gmail uses, and I'll show you very quickly I'll show you very quickly in my email inbox. This is, for example, this is my Gmail Bonim Biyachad email account, and you can see here that along the side I have all these different tabs or folders. Gmail calls those labels. They work a little bit differently, but if you teach in, let's say you're teaching classes for two different schools, what I would suggest you do is set up a folder for Rambam, set up a folder for SKA, and set up a folder for just Bonim Biyachad administrative stuff. You can see I have literally I think I have 50 folders going down the side of my Gmail, probably more. And it's just a way of staying organized. It's very easy to do. Any message you click on under the options, you can just create what's called a filter, and you can stay organized. So if you're used to using a different email provider and you can't find folders That's just because Gmail calls them something different. They call them labels. So that's basically what you need to know about email. Like I said, it wasn't complicated. I'll send you this presentation afterwards, and I give you a link here for getting more information if you need it. This link here goes through how to send emails, how to sort emails, how to reply, all the normal email-y stuff. So that takes us through Gmail. Okay, moving right along. Let me just turn this back on here. Oop, what did I do? There we go. I don't know what I did. Okay, so Hangouts is, you may recognize this little green icon here on the top of my screen. Hangouts is basically Google's answer to Skype or to Instant Message. It does basically the same thing with a few small differences, which I'll go over. You can see if I go back to my inbox, you can see like on the bottom left of my inbox, I can see my Hangouts area. And just like Skype shows you an empty circle or a full circle when somebody's on or offline, Hangouts does the same thing. You can see, for example, that I have a full green circle next to my name. So does Avi, and if I scroll down the list, Lisa's online. So it shows you who's online and who's offline. This is basically the way it works. Starting today, we are using Hangouts instead of Skype for our instant message. So for those of you who have been with Bonim B'Yachad in previous years, you know that one of the things we ask teachers to do is that while you're teaching, we ask you to make sure that you're signed into Hangouts. That way, if we need to reach you during a class, or you need to reach Avi or I in the middle of teaching, that's the easiest way to do it. Again, Hangouts has a wonderful mobile app, so if you want to put it on your phone just to make sure that you're always online, that's what I do. It works very easily, but please make sure to have Hangouts open anytime that you're teaching online. I'll tell you honestly, I still keep Skype open on the bottom of my, minimized on my screen, just because I don't want to miss any calls or miss anything that people send me. In another week or so, I'm going to stop doing that. So, if you need to reach me or Avi, Hangouts is really the way to do it. Avi's going to send me now a message just so you can see what it looks like. Thank you, Avi. That's a good idea. Keep it clean. Anyway, here's my Skype window. Here's my Hangouts window, slip of the tongue. And you can see that it works very similar. Avi just sent me a message, hello everyone, would you like to play a game? And I could respond back. There's a little icon here for video chat. And again, it's pretty self-explanatory how it works. Hangouts, if you want to use a video conference the same way you would talk to somebody on Skype, again, no problem. You can talk to me or Avi, but you can also talk to each other. So for example, if Alon has a question on how the Ivrit class is going and wants to touch base with Michal or with Ariel, he doesn't have to involve Avi or I. Everybody now within the Bonim B'Yachad group, if you search for that person's name in Hangouts, it will automatically find it. So for example, again, here's my Hangouts. If I click the little magnifying glass and I do a search for Ariel, here's Ariel Roseman. And if I want to talk with him, I can just, there's a little icon here. I can send him a message and he's here, no problem. So again, not difficult, but may take a little bit of getting used to.
May I ask a question?
Sure, go ahead.
Can you send files through Hangouts?
Yes. Yes. Anything. There's a little button here. I have to find it. Here it is. You can attach a photo. You can draw an image. There's a lot of different things you can do. Basically, anything that Skype does, this can do also. But don't forget.
Also?
I'm sorry?
Sharing screens also?
Yeah, if you're in a Hangouts call, you share your screen, no problem. I'm not going to do it now because I'm already in Zoom, but it's pretty, and all that stuff.
Ari and I have done it a bunch of times, and it's very, very simple and very intuitive.
Yeah. Now, Hangouts, again, if you're talking to a colleague, if you're talking to Avi or myself, Hangouts can be the go-to platform. If you are doing a student meeting, like if a student says, can we arrange a one-on-one session, I need to study for the test, that should still be done in Zoom. For our class-related activities, Zoom should still be the platform you're using, but as the Skype replacement for internal communication, Hangouts is the go-to place. So like I said, all members of our staff are part of our internal group. So as long as somebody has a bonimbiachad.org email address, you should be able to find them. The other cool thing, and again, some of you will be more excited about this than others, but Hangouts can also be used to make free phone calls to the United States. So I know you're going to ask me why it's not fair, why only to the US and not to Israel. I don't know, but if you look down here, there's a little phone icon. And you can type in, just make sure you change the flag to the United States. You can type in the number, and it will go through. If you want to call other countries like Israel or UK or wherever, you can do it, but you just have to buy credits, which are not expensive, but it's here if you need it. But that is a little bit of an added benefit that people like. So that's basically Hangouts.
Can I jump in with a question?
Sure, of course. Go ahead.
Thanks. If a student emails us via the Bana B'Yachad account and then gets onto our Hangouts that way, can we IM with the student through Hangouts?
Yes. The nice thing about Hangouts is everything. Well, let me show you an example of why that's actually okay, whereas with Skype it would have been a problem. Let me go to I have a folder called AVM, which is all my emails from Avi Mandelbaum. As you can imagine, it's a big folder. You can see that every IM actually gets recorded as an email. So there's a record of it. So even though you're sitting there talking to the student, hi, what's my homework, there's still a record. It's still being recorded. And if you get on a video call, like if a student does for whatever, send you a video call request and you don't want to be rude and not answer it, what you can do is you can say, you can type back to him and say, listen, if you want to chat, better to do it in Zoom, but if you have a question, you can, you're welcome to type it to me or something like that. But that's fine. Good question. Thank you for asking that. So again, I'll send this link where you can get more information, but it's pretty simple. Some of you may need to install, the first time you use Hangouts, it may ask you to install the Hangouts plugin. If you're not using Google Chrome as your default browser, you may be asked to do more installations, but I've managed to get this to work pretty easily in Chrome, Mozilla Firefox, Internet Explorer, Microsoft Edge, and Safari. So if there's another browser out there that you're using, good luck, but it should work pretty seamlessly in all the main ones. Okay, now, the next thing just to go over is our Google Calendar functions. And this is really important because in creating this virtual group of all the Bonim B'Yachad staff members, we actually are able to see the availability and busy schedules of other people in our group. So for example, if I want to schedule a meeting with, oh, sorry, Miriam, did you have another question or did I get you before? Okay, you're good. Okay. So if I want to schedule a meeting with Avi or with Miriam, let's say, I can actually, you can see I have on the left side here, I have my calendars and I have other calendars. So let's say I want to, find somebody's calendar. Sorry. Give me 1 second. Oh, sorry, there it is. Came up. There it is. Let's say I want to find Ariel's calendar. I can I'm just picking on you, Ariel. Sorry. I can just find it, click on it, and then what'll happen is I'll get another tab under my calendars, and right now you can see Avi's calendar is turned off. But watch what happens if I turn it on. I get in a different color all of Avi's entered calendar dates. Now, you can decide, Avi, as you'll see, I'm sorry, Avi, I'm sharing your calendar with the entire world, but as you can see, I can see now.
I'll bill you for it later.
Thanks, I'm sure you will. Avi, I can see everything that Avi has scheduled, but what I would suggest, you don't want to share your calendar with the world, what you can actually do, I'll just access this from here, from any event. And again, you can find instructions of how to do this later on. But for every event, there's a button at the bottom here called Sharing Settings. And you can actually see, right now I have my calendar set to share this calendar with everyone in the organization Bonim B'Yachad. And it gives you two choices: to see all available details, or to see only free busy and to hide the details. So most people, I would suggest, I don't need to know that you have a doctor's appointment, or that your, kid is, has a violin lesson. You can just, if you need to block that time off and that's not a good time for us to meet, then you can just put that on your calendar, set it as busy, and you're good to go. But, this will hopefully, using this feature, will hopefully save a lot of the headaches of trying to schedule meetings. I know that sometimes there's a lot of back and forth. Oh, when are you free? I don't know. Hold on, let me check my calendar. Oh, that's not good for me. So now, like, if you need to schedule a meeting with Avi to go over Zoom, let's say, all you have to really do is, bring up Avi's calendar and find a time where Avi is available. And then what happens, you schedule the event. I'm not going to go through the process. There's a place over here to add guests. So again, anybody in our group, you can just type automatically and they'll come up. You can invite people from the outside as well. If you do, it will ask you, are you sure you want to send this invitation to somebody not part of our group? And you can press yes. And, here under description, this is where if you're doing a Zoom conference with somebody, you can just copy and paste the Zoom invitation. If there's also an option here, you'll see that when you schedule something on the Google Calendar, it automatically gives you a Hangouts link. That's the same Hangouts we just looked at. So if you want the person to contact you in Hangouts, you can just leave that, and it becomes a meeting. If you rather they use Zoom, then what you can do is just press the remove button and then paste the Zoom invitation here and do it that way. So you have a lot of different options here for scheduling, but again, the main things that you want to just keep in mind is that when we get materials, for example, when we get school schedules that are starting to come in, if we know, for example, there's a day that class is canceled, let's say you normally teach on Tuesday, and Tuesday there's a field trip next week, we're going to put it on your calendar. So always check your calendar.
Only if we know about it.
Obviously, only. Thank you, Avi. Sherry thinks that's funny. Okay, I'm glad somebody does. Anyway, it's a good idea to check your calendar regularly just to see if there's any update. They also have a mobile app for this as well. So, if you have a smartphone, you'll get reminders to your phone, like 10 minutes before an event, and you can do it that way.
Actually, Ari, on the topic, can you go back to the calendar and start creating an event again, please?
Sure.
Because this is something that I know I'm addicted to, and it saves me a lot. But right here, you should have a pink circle around it. There's a notification setting where you can ask it to remind you. And there's two different settings there. You see right now it says notification. You can click that drop down and change it to email. And you can also click the button that's right underneath it that says add notification. So if you have a crazy schedule because it's central and it changes every day, you can have it send you emails or have it pop up on your phone or on your computer. A notification is a little thing that'll pop up that's annoying, and an email is just an email. And have it email you 15 minutes, an hour, 5 hours, 6 days. You can change that to the unit and everything. So that way you don't even need to remember. Your phone or computer will remember for you. And this has become life-saving for me, for lack of a better word. If you remember when Arya had my calendar up, one of the things on there is that Edith has a birthday party tomorrow at 11 o'clock. This way I don't forget that she has a birthday party tomorrow. Yeah,
you'd be in trouble for that one. But yeah, I mean, that's a good point. You can set notifications. You can also, if you have to add, if you want to, let's say you're scheduling a meeting and you want to go over a a course outline. You can actually attach the course outline before the meeting so that everybody can come in prepared and ready to go. One other thing I'll just show you since I'm back here, there's this place here called Other Calendars, which is a neat function. You can actually browse what they call interesting calendars. You can see here, like there's one for Jewish holidays, there's one for Orthodox I mean, they have holidays. I don't know who would need holidays in Bolivia, but it's here.
Bolivians.
Bolivians, yeah. But you can actually search for, like if you're a baseball fan and you want to add the Major League Baseball games to your calendar, like they give you a lot of other cool options, so you can play with that on your own. Again, this is your calendar to do with as you'd like, so you can add stuff that's not work related. We don't care. In fact, I would suggest you do that if there are times where you don't want to be bothered. Block them off so we don't bother you, or at least we'll try not to bother you. So that's basically the calendars. Like we said, you can set up events to be shown publicly, like Avi's calendar, or just as busy. If you're scheduling a new appointment, we went over the video call. One nice thing about the Google Calendars is you never need to worry about the time zone. You'll notice that here it says time zone. The time zone for me is set to Israel time, but if I send this to somebody in America, it will automatically be converted to whatever time his or her computer is set to. So you never have to sit there and think, okay, well, it's 9 o'clock here, so what time does that make it over there? It does. It takes care of that for you. Sorry, Yoni, go ahead. Avi showed me that you were raising your hand.
Yeah. So I have a question about the calendars. One of the great things that you could do with Google Calendar is share a calendar. So
Yeah.
I was wondering, Avi sent today the vacation schedule for Rambam. So would you be setting up a calendar for vacations for different schools?
They're actually, the school will provide that to us. Like this specific school you're asking about, they did say they will provide that to us in a Google format in about a month and a half from now. So then it'll automatically get loaded into yours.
Like for those of you who have taught for Nifty, for example, Nifty does all their calendars in Google Calendar. So when they share their calendar, you'll get their schedule, and it will basically just embed itself on top of your calendar. And just like with Avi's calendar, you also do have the ability to shut it off, and to turn it back on. So it's very simple. But thank you, Yoni. That's a good question. We'll try for the schools that don't use Google Calendars and we get the paper calendars. Avi and I will actually manually do it for you, at least with the important information, so you'll have the start date, you'll have their days on the calendar for, let's say, Sukkot vacation. We'll try to put that on your calendars ahead of time so you know what's going on. So the last thing about calendars, and this is really important, when you do receive an invitation, please make sure you answer it yes, no, maybe, whatever the response is, because if somebody does send you an invitation, it's nice to know if you're actually coming to the meeting. Like I said, I'll send you this link later on, and you can explore a little bit more on your own. Okay. The next topic we'll talk about is Google Drive storage. Google provides each of you with 30 gigabytes of cloud storage. That's a lot. At least for most of us. For me, it's not a lot, but for most people, 30 gigs should get you through at least about 10 years of teaching. So basically, any Bonim B'Yachad class-related materials should be stored on your Google Drive. How do you access your Google Drive? For those of you who don't know, well, if I go back to my inbox, there's this little icon here that I can click, and it gives me shortcuts to all my Google-related things. If I click Drive, it will automatically open my Google Drive, and you can see I have a lot stored here already. I have folders for marketing and for personnel and for professional development and school calendars and so on and so forth. So each of you have the same thing. You can also create new files and folders. You can transfer things from your computer to your drive very easily. For example, if I have something on my desktop that I want to transfer over, I just pick it up and I drag it. and it's done. Now it's part of Google Drive. So it's a very, basically the general rule here is anything that you are doing with your class, anything that you need for your Bonim Biachad materials, whether it's worksheets, textbooks, tests that you're making, whatever it is, everything should be part of Google Drive. And it's just a matter of organized and making everything fluid. The nicest thing about Google Drive, and I'll show you the coolest thing. Let's say you're teaching AP English. I'll use Miriam's class as an example. You know that during the course of the year, you're going to be sharing different work handouts and materials and assignments with your students. Well, what you can actually do, yes, we're still using the Schoology LMS or whatever LMS your school is using, but you can very easily just post a link to the folder in your LMS, create a new folder, and then just share it with your class. You'll have their email addresses and put them in, and then anything that you add to that folder during the course of the year is automatically shared with the students. So there's, you got to do the work once, and then it's basically you're set for forever. And I've already found that to be very helpful. I have a project I'm doing right now, some summer school students that I'm teaching, and basically you can see I have my summer school folder here. Every class that we have a session, I add the next source or the next unit, and they have it already. Yeah, Yoni, go ahead.
I just wanted to say that if you share a folder, the only way that they'll be able to actually access it is either if you open it for all the world to see, or if they have a Google account. So if they have Google accounts, you could share it with them freely, log in. But if otherwise, you need to open it to the entire world as a link.
Well, Yoni, first of all, every single student in the world, that's actually, okay, I won't say in the world. 99.9% of our students have Gmail accounts. Many of our schools, including Rambam, Central, SKA, others are Google schools as well, so it's not a problem. You're set. If you run into a student, the rare student who doesn't have it, then let us know and we'll figure it out. But we haven't run into that problem yet. I'll put it that way. But
yeah, you don't have to really load anything to Schoology anymore, basically.
No, I didn't say that. You still want to post your assignments. In other words, but what you can do, let's say you assign in Schoology,
I don't mean for anything for assignment grades, but
right. But let's say your homework assignment in Schoology is okay. Do this handout, the handout on past tense, do numbers 1 through 10. So what you can do is, instead of having to upload that handout directly to Schoology, which perhaps takes time, you can put it into your folder for that class. And again, just, with an instruction, page can be found in shared folder or something like that. Again, you can also upload it there if you want. This is just an easy way of setting it up once and having it there. Students will also, for assignments, most students nowadays, if you ask them to write something or to create a PowerPoint presentation, for example, most students are not using PowerPoint and Word. What they're doing is they're using Google Docs or Google Slides, and instead of getting an attachment on your email, you're going to get a link, or you're going to get an invitation that Sarah has shared this file with you. So that's the way most of the students are working nowadays. We saw that most of the time last year. So now we're working the same way at the end of the day.
Another major advantage is, I normally teach from this computer, but let's say I'm at Sheva Brachot and I take my laptop with me. If you save all of your class materials, to share them with the students, but your materials, you save them in the Google Drive. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. As long as there's an internet connection, you now have it. You don't have to worry about moving it to another computer. How do I get a 40 megabyte file? It's in the Google Drive. It doesn't matter, and you can just share it from there when you're actually teaching your class. It's incredibly useful. And I'm going bald, but I'd be much balder if I didn't have that function.
Yeah, I mean, I'll show you one other example. Like here's an email Avi sent me with the Rambam schedule that Yoni mentioned before. So when you click on an attachment, you have two icons. The one we're used to using is download because that's how we save it to our computer. But what I did is there's actually another icon where I can save it to Drive, and it'll automatically choose the folder I want to put it in. So you see I have a folder here called School Calendars, and it's there. If I don't have a folder, I can create a new folder here. So if you get an attachment by an email, you can just move it over to your Drive folder, to your Drive account very easily, very quickly. So then it's there.
May I ask comments or questions?
Sure, Sherry, go ahead.
Okay, so if I understand correctly, if we still have to post assignments in Schoology, we can have them in the Google folder and send a link from the Schoology, sending the students to the Google file.
Yes.
Okay. The other question is all the material that I at least have on my computer, from years back. Okay. You want us to start putting it onto the Google documents?
I'm not going to drive you crazy and make you work backwards, Sherry. That's not the idea. But moving forward, start using it.
No, but what I'm saying is that there's certain basic stuff anyway that I'm going to use no matter what.
Yeah, so that should be part of Google Drive.
So that stuff isn't a problem to put on Google Drive.
Yeah. Okay. So again,
I have a quick question.
Sorry,
I understand that's fine. I raised my hand before. Our account is actually under Bona Biachad Business. So do you have access to all of our files that we upload automatically?
I do. I don't make a habit of going into people's private Google Drive folders, but if we needed to, it's part of the...
So I guess that's right. So that's important. I'm saying so everybody should know that not to put anything personal. This is specifically for business.
Yeah.
Nothing we don't personal because other people do have access to it.
Well, I think that's a general good rule, David. I think the reason we have I think the average person here probably has about 7 email accounts. I know I do.
Probably so.
I have my personal Gmail, and I have my my account for the school I work with, and I have my Bona Biachad account. The list goes on. And I think that's a general good rule anyway. Again, we're not... Right.
And it makes it convenient. It makes it also more convenient for you also, because if we need to send something, you automatically have access to it.
Right. Look, if you call me up and say, I'm stuck in traffic, I'm not going to make my class tonight, and I have no internet, but the file I need is in my account. So yeah, with your permission, I'll go in and, I'll share it with the students. But, I'll tell you, David, and I mean this with all due respect to everybody, Avi and I have 30-something teachers, and I wish we had the time to go. No, I'm kidding. We just don't have the time to So we're not spying on you. We're not.
I'm not worried.
But yeah. Sorry, Batsheva, you had a question?
Yeah. This new platform with the access to the drive, will that change where we store our Zoom recordings?
No. Zoom recordings, some of you, this is actually good news for most of you. Zoom recordings you will no longer have to store anymore. Zoom recordings will all automatically be done on the cloud. So when you enter a class, you will never need to upload a Zoom recording again.
That's another meeting in the middle of August, though.
Yeah, we'll get to Zoom,
All right,
but But okay. The other big thing about Google Drive is, and something some of you have used already, but if you haven't, you'll hopefully get to use it. Something called Google Forms. This is an amazing tool which allows you to create questionnaires, surveys. We actually use this tool a lot for quizzes and tests because you can actually create it. What happens is you get a URL, you send it to the students, they fill it in, and you get an answer sheet, and you have your tests. So this is a huge advantage also of Google Drive, just being able to use the forms and and being able to use that for assessment purposes. So, again, files can be shared either with groups or with individual students. You can also choose when you share something, whether you want the user that you're sharing it with to view the file or actually be able to edit it. So if you're sending them a PDF, it doesn't really matter how you set it because you can't really edit the PDF. But if you are sending, let's say, a Word document or a Docs file, and you don't want the student to be able to actually go in and edit it, you can make it view only or comment, allow them to write comments on it, but not actually able to change it. Yes, Yoni, go ahead.
I just want to add to that. They could also prevent them from downloading and printing. Sharing options. If there's something that you want to just share with them, but not allow them to share on or print, or you want to give them really limited access, that's also possible.
Yeah, I mean, you can do that, although I imagine that for most of you, you would actually be encouraging your students to print. We should be so lucky. I'm not. But yeah, I mean, Yoni, you're right, that there are a lot of different levels of security that when you share, you can choose from. So again, you can check that out on your own.
Can I say something also, please?
Sure. Please, go ahead.
Just for you to know, guys, that if you think that when you send a PDF file, you're protected from editing, from the students to edit anything. So think again, because starting from Microsoft 2013, you can actually convert the PDF file to doc file through the Microsoft Word, and you can edit and do whatever you want with it.
That is true, but it's not quite seamless. Let's not get off topic. I don't want to get off topic. You raise a good point, but I don't want anybody, in most cases, it's not a seamless, transfer, and it depends what kind of document it is also. But we'll talk more about that later. But thank you, Ariel, for bringing that up. Google has created alternatives for almost all MS Office titles. Docs is instead of Word. Sheets is their version of Excel. Slides, which I'm using right now, is PowerPoint. There's a program called Keep, which is the equivalent to OneNote. The only thing that Google really has not created yet, and there are third-party options available, is an Access equivalent. If anybody really needs to use Microsoft Access for your classes, speak to me. I'll show you some options. But for most of our purposes, you should easily be able to find the equivalent platform. Okay. Moving along quickly. All files. Yeah, go ahead.
Once they go into a Google Doc format, can you easily transform them back into a regular?
Yes. For example, if I open up, here's just a file I created. I'll show it to you. I can easily, if I click on File, you can. I can see there's an option to download as. And what the first option is a doc.docx. I have PDF. They give me a bunch of choices. So yeah, you can always go backwards. No problem. Okay. Like we talked about shared folders, you can also add additional apps. There's really an app for just about every type of purpose that you could imagine. If I'm not going to go through them now, but if you click on the new option and you click, and there's an option here to connect more apps. There are apps that Google has companies that they've partnered with, functions that you can do literally anything. There are literally thousands of apps. Some of them are terrible. Some of them are quite good. But if you want to go play or do some searching, you can have fun with this. Again, it's your account. So Gesundheit, as they say in Yiddish. So, but you can explore that on your own. Okay. The last thing I'll talk about is YouTube. Now, I know as teachers, we like to rely on YouTube sometimes for videos for our classes. And one nice thing is that when you're signed into your Bonim B'Yachad account, you're also automatically signed in to YouTube. And any videos, we're not going to go through this now because it's getting late, but YouTube actually allows you to create your own video. Oops, sorry, wrong tab. To create your own videos. So let's say you can actually record something through YouTube with Hangouts as your video recorder. Let's say you know you're going to be absent one day, so you want to pre-record your class. You can actually set that up. It'll be in your YouTube account, and you can very easily share it through the Google platform. So I'm not going to show you how to do that now because it's a different subject. But if that is applicable, we can do another session at another time. But just keep in mind, again, I don't want to scare anybody, but David, one thing you have to remember about YouTube is that when you bring up your YouTube window, you can kind of see, I was on Judy Kick the other day, and it's the last thing I was watching. But what we can do is if you click on your channel, like you can see, I created a playlist. I started to on Google videos, things that I might want to share with you guys about how to use some of the platforms that we've spoken about. So you can actually set that up. You can do a lot of different things in YouTube that you probably are not aware of. But again, I'm not going to go through them now. We can do that another time, but you even have an option here. Sorry, I lied. You even have an option here to do a live stream. So if you do an event, this is where you would pre-record a video, and you could, let's say you couldn't be in class, you could tell the students, give them a 5-minute introduction on something, and then say, go here and and do this. Now, just like when you share a Google Doc or a Google Drive file, and you can set the sharing parameters on a YouTube video as well. So just because you recreate a video, it doesn't mean that you have to share it with the world. You can make it unlisted. You can set it to only share to specific people. There are a whole lot of options. So again, if you want to play around with that a little bit, be in touch with me, and I'll be happy to go through it with you. Like I said at the beginning, the nice thing about the Google platform is that there is help all over the place. If you need help and you go to YouTube and you do a folder, you do a search for, let's say, I can't find it now. Let me go back to YouTube. Let's say I do a search for using Google Docs or something like that. So it'll give me exactly what I need here. You have it came up with 198,000 results. You don't have to look through all of them, but you have options. I'm also going to send you this URL, which is the Google Apps Learning Center, and you can see that there is an icon for each of the areas we went over. There's some things we didn't discuss that are not applicable to us, but like, let's say you need to know how to do something on your calendar. Well, if you click calendar, you can either just go through and it'll start you from scratch and walk you through, or you can actually, they have here what's called a calendar cheat sheet, which if you open up, it gives you just the basics in one place, and you can go do it. The other thing you can do, of course, is use Google to its fullest. How do I schedule an appointment in Google Calendar? And if I do it that way, I will also get the instructions I need. So you have a lot of options for help. Again, I hope I didn't overwhelm you with too much information tonight. Like I said at the beginning, most of you are familiar with Google and Gmail. We've all been using different aspects of it for a long time. And, for those people who are newer to the platform, take some time over the next few weeks to play around, to get comfortable. Avi and I are here to answer any basic questions, but if you do have specific questions, try to find the answer you need online, because you'll probably get a much better answer online than you will from us. Hopefully, within the next couple of weeks, we will all become accustomed and comfortable using the Google platform. So before we end our evening, are there any questions? Anything anybody wants to ask, or are we all good to go? All right. So Ariel's given the. Oh, I'm done. Okay.
I thought he was raising two hands. He was very emphatic about his question.